Assalamu alaikum student. Today we discuss the topic of Young modulus of the chapter physics of solid. We know that Young modulus is the ratio of the stress to strain, and Young modulus is always denoted by Y. So here we write that Young modulus is the ratio of stress to strain. It is denoted by Y. It is denoted by Y. If we discuss about it formula, we know that Young modulus is represented by Y, and this is the ratio of stress over strain. It measure what the Young modulus measure. Young modulus measure the stiffness of a material. If we talk about the formula of the Young modulus, we know that the stress that is equal to stress, that is formula is force over area. Strain, that formula is change in length over original length. So it can be written as F force L length area into change in length. So if we talk about it, SI unit of this Young modulus is Pascal. It is denoted by PA, and it also write as Newton per meter square. That is all we discuss about the Young modulus definition and its formula. Young modulus measure basically the stiffness of a material, how much the material is stiff. It is measured by Young modulus formula. Okay, now we discuss about the Hooke law. What is Hooke law? We know that in the Hooke law, stress is directly proportional to strain. It means that when we apply the stress, how much stress is applied, then it produces the strain accordingly. So here we write that Hooke law state that stress is directly proportional to strain. Directly proportional to strain. This law is valid only within the elastic limit. What is the elastic limit? Elastic limit is the property of the material. If we apply the force beyond this limit, then the object is break. So Hooke law is only valid when the material is within the elastic limit. This law is valid within the elastic limit. We also discuss about the definition of the elastic limit. If we mathematically represent the Hooke law, that is the stress is directly proportional to strain. Now we discuss about the what is the elastic limit. Elastic limit is basically the maximum stress a material can bear. So that if we remove that stress, then the material come back to its original state. That is the elastic limit of the material. So here we write about the definition of the elastic limit. What is the elastic limit? Elastic limit is the maximum stress a material can bear. Within the elastic limit, the material return to its original shape. Within elastic limit, the material returns to its original shape. Beyond this limit, permanent deformation is occur. Beyond this limit, permanent deformation occur. So valid. If we talk about Hooke law validation, so Hooke law is valid only when the material is within the elastic limit. So that is all about the Hooke law. Now we discuss about the high Young modulus and low Young modulus. What is the high Young modulus mean? High Young modulus mean the material is very stiff, material is very hard. It shows that a small strain is produced when we apply the large stress. If we take the example of the steel, in the steel when we apply the large stress, it produces the small strain. So the high Young modulus means the material is very stiff. It shows small strain. It shows small strain for large stress. If we talk about an example of the high Young modulus, we take the steel that is produce the small strain when we apply the large stress. Now we talk about the low Young modulus. What mean the low Young modulus? Low Young modulus indicate that the material is less stiff, is not very hard. Low Young modulus mean indicate that the material is less stiff, is not very hard. It produces large strain for a small stress. It produces large strain for small stress. In the example of the low-Young modulus, we take the rubber that is produce the large strain in the small stress. So here we take the example of low-Young modulus, we take the rubber. Rubber is the example of the low-Young modulus.